Okay, so we are going to begin talking about the evil eye. Its sources, the way that we're going to start off is first figuring out the sources in the Torah. What sources do we have in Torah? And is it evil eye is real or not? And then we're going to speak about different things that protect you from it. And then we're going to speak also about the fake stuff that don't protect you from it. And a lot of people think that it protects you from it. And then we'll end off with certain superstitions and what is real and what is not. Not everything. I know there's a lot of things, especially with Russian backgrounds. They have a lot of things that are superstitious, but I wasn't able to get all of them. I was able to get some of them. Okay. So to begin, and this again we spoke a little about last week. So as a review, is there such a thing from the Torah as an evil eye? And the answer is absolutely yes. You see, the first time that the evil eye spoke about in the Torah was that Sarah gave Hagar an evil eye, and because of that she miscarried. Right? And additionally, it's not the part that we're going to speak of more in depth than other ones. There is Yaakov Avinu. There was a famine in the land where one of our forefathers, right? It was Jacob. There's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob, he had 12 sons. One of them was, he didn't know where it was. He thought it was a guy that was Yosef that lived in Egypt. Now, there was a famine in the land that he was, and he said, in Egypt is where everybody had food. So he told his sons, listen, go to the land and get food. Now, when he told them to go into the land, it says that they were like big guys, very well put. He says, don't go all in one shot. Rather, go in separate entrances, so this way evil eye won't fall on you. Right? Location for this is Genesis chapter 42, verse 5. It says that they said, that they went inside there, and you look at Rashi. Rashi says straight out. It says what? He says, he says, why are you going to go in each different entrance so that the evil eye won't come to you, right? Because if people see like a bunch of big, strong guys, tall, good-looking guys walking in, they can put an evil eye in it. Jacob didn't want that. He says, listen, go in separate entrances, therefore the evil eye won't fall in. There's in the Gemara, in the Talmud, in Baba Metzia 107b, it speaks about that Rav, there's a certain pasuk, that God is going to remove from you all the sicknesses. And they say, what is the sicknesses? They say the sicknesses is evil eye. That's the way that some interpret it. And he goes on and he explains that he went into the cemetery, this big rabbi. He went into the cemetery and he found out how those people died. Right? And there's three, how did he do that? So some say that he was actually able to speak to them. Others, he said he asked through a dream. Others say that he planted a tree. And if the tree died, he knew that they died from evil eye. And if it lived, they knew they died from just regular causes. And he came to the conclusion that 99 out of every 100 people die from evil eye. So this is a very, very serious situation over here. We see that most people are dying from evil eye. So from the Torah, oral law, and the written law, we see both sources that there is such a thing as evil eye. We know Bilam tried to place an evil eye on the Jewish people. So evil eye is real. Now the question is how are we supposed to interact with that? Not only that, from this week's Parasha, actually, we can prove some evil eye. We have. Oh, you heard about this. I wasn't going to say that. Maybe I'll bring you that. So the luchot, the tablets, right? We had two tablets. One was broken and one was survived. The one that was given first was broken. And it says in this week's parasha, it said the first tablets was given with a big show, a big bang. You had here it was lightning and thunder, and everybody heard it. Everyone, people ran over to Bilam and say, "Hey, what's going on over here?" It says, "Oh, God's giving the Torah to the Jews." So everybody heard about it. The second Torah, it said, God says, which is in this week's parasha, right? Exodus chapter 34, verse 3. He says, it says, no one's coming up this time, just me and just you. He told Moses, you come up now, privately. It was a very quiet endeavor, right? The first one was given in a whole loud, shebang, and it was all, everybody heard about it. That ended up, you could say, was given an evil eye. It got destroyed. The second one is what we have now, was given quietly. Quietly, we see that it didn't have an evil eye in it, and hence we still have it. Right? Again, it's not the only reason, right? The tablets weren't broken only solely because of the evil eye, right? It was broken because of the sin that we did in this week's parasha, which is the golden calf. So, but just as a general idea, this is where we can see that. Okay, so now we have to understand how does evil eye work? In fact, the big rabbi once asked, and we spoke about this last week, is how is it possible that because I have something going for me, so I have, let's say, a nice car or whatever I have, so because some other guy becomes jealous, I should be punished for that? It makes no sense, right? Why should I get punished and I should get something ruined from somebody else's jealousy? Most people, when they get a brand new car, right, it only takes about a week till this gets keyed, or some scratches, right? Right away, they always know that. Oh, why do they blame it on evil eye? So first of all, how does that work? So Rav Dessler explains. He says, when you flaunt your blessings at somebody else, that other person gets hurt from it, right? Inside, he's bothers him. Not because he's a sinner. Sometimes it's just like a person has this, it's just the way that people are. Granted, it's not supposed to be that way, but people are that way. So somebody gets hurt, he gets, it feels bad. He's like, oh, my life is not going this way. This guy's life is going so great. So he gets insulted. He says, because you hurt somebody else, he says that person's cry is going to go up to heaven. That person has to, that cry is going to get answered. There's nothing that goes unanswered. So he says, it opens. Oh, I'm going to get to speak to that. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. No, it's good. I was going to start speaking about it, but he said it, but I was like, I'm going to keep it in the right order. So, let's speak about it that way because he brought it up. So he said it opens someone's book. So how the way that it works is that Mr. A, Sam, looks at Max. Max just bought a brand new Mercedes, and Sam's like, oh my God, look at this guy just bought a brand new Mercedes. He doesn't even keep Shabbat. I've been keeping Shabbat for 6 months now, right? My lease was up, and now I have to go get whatever. I don't want to say a car, because I know somebody might have a car, and someone's going to get insulted. But a car that's not a Mercedes, right, and not to that standard. And, he says, oh, look at this guy. He says, how come he has it and I don't? Right? And that, by the way, that is the definition of an evil eye. Evil eye is not necessarily that you say, how come, oh, that's a nice Mercedes, I want one like that. Right? Very clear understanding. As opposed to, how come he has that and I don't? I don't want him to have it, I want to have it. That's the definition of evil eye.
Work hard.
It's not, by the way, it's not all necessarily
That's
true.
what should be written on this car. Work hard.
Work hard to get the same car. And don't be
There are
jealous.
many people that work very hard and don't make a lot of money.
Hold on, it doesn't
Work
make
smart,
sense.
work
You
smart.
work, probably it's not work not enough. Not
didn't
enough.
work
The general way, the way the world works is yes. The harder you work, the more you work, you're going to do that. But there's a person that can work at McDonald's behind the counter. He works really hard. He works 12
McDonald's
hours.
is not the work. It's McDonald's for the college students. McDonald's for the high school students.
So what you really need to say is not work hard, work smart.
Of course, you have to be smart to work nice place.
But in essence, even if a person works hard in his life, and he got this because of all that he went through, a person's still not flaunted and hurt somebody else because of that. Even though you're right, maybe this guy went to medical school and he studied really hard, and for 20 years his life was nothing. It was all studying and residency and all these things.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then, yeah, I know, that's why I'm explaining it. And then he goes and he makes money. So why? Now some guy who never went to college, he dropped out of high school, is going to get insulted because he's working, behind the desk somewhere or something like that. Says, even so, a person, the doctor, who's making tons of money, is not allowed to flaunt all his wealth at somebody else. It makes other people feel bad. Especially in our generation. It's very bad. Our generation, it's all meeting, what is it called? Keeping up with the Jones or something like that? You always have to keep up with somebody else. So it's something that you have to be considerate about if somebody lives in a community, or that not a lot of people have money, and this guy, God bless him, he has a lot of money, shouldn't be flaunting it around, right? You shouldn't park 17 Mercedes, in every different color. I know people that have Range Rovers in different colors. They just don't know what to do with their money anymore. It's like 2 people in the house, but they have like 4 cars, right? I know somebody right now. He just 2 days ago, and he's not going to watch any of this stuff, so I know I can say it. He bought a sports car just for driving in the summer. He has a car for regular driving. And then he told me, he's like, this car is just for summer drives. So when people live a certain way, they're just flaunting it in front of everybody else. It's just hurting other people. But how does it actually work? So the way it works is that Sam got, let's make Max a doctor, right? Dr. Max is, bought his new Mercedes. Sam got jealous. So how come he has and I don't? So what happens is in heaven, everybody has a personal angel, or however you want to explain it. And his angel goes over to Sam's angel, goes over to Dr. Max's angel, and say, listen, it's not fair. How come your guy has a Mercedes and I don't? And they say, once you say something, it makes an impression in the heavens. And they don't just be like, oh, whatever, this guy's stupid. No. They deal with every single thing that comes up as a real claim. So they go up and they say, all right, let's open the books. Let's see if Dr. Max really deserves to have a Mercedes. And they start opening his books and start auditing him. Right? No one wants to get audited. But once they start auditing it, they can find certain things. They can find certain issues, and they can find certain problems. And then, God forbid, there's an accident. God forbid, there's something else happens. So it doesn't have to do with the car. It can be something else in its entirety.
But they can also see if maybe he deserves an Mercedes Bentley, he'll let it go through. It's
You're
not,
saying it's going to go for his benefit.
Right.
It's like, this guy Mercedes.
Is it possible to go in the benefit? Or it's only going to go if they're going to see, oh, it's.
So there
Is it possible in nowadays age to find a guy that's driving a Mercedes and he could probably get a benefit? That's a good question. I don't know if if hypothetically there was such a righteous person at that level that, because what we know, everything that we do is based on kindness from God. To say that not only do we deserve this, we deserve even more, it's very hard to say that. You understand what I'm saying? Because everything that we do in life, everything that we get is based off our kindness from God. God doesn't owe us anything. A lot of people think, okay, I'm going to be religious. Now I say, God, where's my bonus? Show me the moolah.
It's
Why
not
is it
that-
not raining?
It's not that he has to give it to you. I'm saying if he deserves it, they open the book, let's say, they forgot to.
If he deserves it,
open
so then he doesn't. There's
So
nothing.
if he deserves it, they're not going to even open this book.
Yeah, we're going to speak about that. How do you
Why
get to
somebody-
somebody?
why
How do you
somebody-
lock your books and nobody else could open it? Yeah, we're going to speak about that later. Yeah. So, okay. So that's general. The general. I couldn't find the source of this, but I heard this. It said that a person has when he creates a good deed, he has good angels. When he creates a bad deed, he has bad angels. Now the good angels want to do him, want to protect him. The bad angels want to harm him. Now what happens is that if he has this evil eye, he loses that protection against those bad angels. So those bad angels are now able to harm him. That I saw that, I heard that, I didn't see the source for it inside, but I figured I'll just mention to you. I also saw inside that it says that the evil eye of a woman is more potent than the evil eye of a man, because they're more envious. And we're going to soon see that there are certain people that have, their character trait is of evil eye is much stronger than somebody else's. Right? Like everybody else has certain powers. People have, and I'm sure you guys can attest to this, that sometimes you walk into a room, and there's the one guy that walks in the room and makes everybody smile. Right? He walks in, everybody starts laughing. There's another guy that walks in the room that people are going, oh, this guy again. Right? There's certain classes that I teach that I can tell by that. There's one guy that starts talking, everybody's like, just forget about it. Which is a very incorrect way to do it. If someone's asking a question, no matter how stupid it is, you have to address the question and you have to make it feel important. Otherwise, the person's never going to learn. He's not going to. Besides the fact that they're, it's a big sin. You're insulting the other guy. He says, "Oh, come on, don't worry about it. Don't worry about his question." Right? And there's another guy that walks in, everybody's laughing. And then there's another guy that walks in, you hide your wallet. Right? There are people that that they just have that face, that you don't want to deal business with them, right? I had a friend of mine that was like that. Like people always looked at him as like a shady guy. He was completely straight like an arrow, but he had like this shady way that he walked and he did stuff. That everybody was just nervous. Some people have that. So it's like certain internal energies, if you could say.
That feeling in your gut.
Yeah. That some people have those internal energies and evil eyes. Some people have a good eye. Some people have that thing that if they look at the evil eye is very potent. Bilam was one of those people that he had a very, very strong evil eye. So actually the Zohar says something very important. We have to mention this, that if somebody puts an evil eye in somebody else, he will get the evil eye first. So it's not like you don't like somebody. I heard about this again. I didn't see it. I think I mentioned last week. It says there's a company online that if you want to put an evil eye in somebody, let's say somebody cut you off or really pissed you off, there's a company that they'll say, we'll put an evil eye in him. We'll do that. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't found it. I don't know anything about it. But those people are fools. So they're putting evil eyes, and they're just going to get everything back on themselves. For a fee, they go and they destroy another person. I don't know. I don't know how they do. Maybe they send a picture and they start looking at the picture really intently.
I just want to ask a question. Did you mention how you can put an evil eye on someone that you love?
Yes. Oh, we didn't mention it yet, but we will, hopefully we will. There is besides the fact of putting like there's somebody that is able to put an evil eye on somebody else even from far away. They actually made a study on this. Is that they took a bunch of people in the room and then they took a bunch of people in a different room and they said they took one picture of one guy and they started staring at him. I haven't looked at the study. I heard of the study. They started staring at this picture, and there was one guy they asked, and he actually came up. He says he feels that someone's looking at him. He was able to feel that someone was staring at him. Meanwhile, nobody in the room was looking at him. There was somebody in a different room looking at his picture, which is, again, is it true? Is it not true? I can't say it. I'm just, presenting that information, which does make sense a little bit. Sometimes you're able to. Sometimes you can feel that someone's looking at you. You have that weird thing, like you look around and no one's in there. So I'm not saying someone's staring at your pictures on Facebook. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But in any case, the question that we have to deal with now is we just said that, and this is from the Chazon Ish, the way that he explains it. There's somebody said this we also explained last week, that if somebody goes and puts an evil eye on somebody, that person can die. Right? That was the Gemara that we said originally from Bava Metzia. Right? Was it Bava Metzia? It was Bava Metzia. Yes. So he says, how does that work? on Rosh Hashanah, we all know in the New Year we get judged, right? Not the Russian New Year, the Jewish New Year, right? I know the Russian New Year is a very big important thing. The Jewish New Year, everybody gets judged what's going to happen for that whole year. Whether you're going to die, whether you're going to live, whether you're going to have money, how much money you're going to make, you're going to have happiness, sad, whatever it is, everything is written on that day. So how is it possible that somebody could go and put an evil eye, kill another person, if it was written that he should die? You understand the question? Is it, how does evil eye work if we already with this inscribed in the beginning of the year, what's going to be for that year? So says the Chazon Ish, says somebody that was inscribed for a year of life, evil eye, the guy could stare at him from today till tomorrow, it's not killing him. Right? He was inscribed for life, God said he's going to live, he's going to live. If God said he's going to die, then he's going to die. Now how does it work, the evil eye? So says the Chazon Ish, it means that when somebody goes and says that he was supposed to die, but it didn't say how he was going to die, so their evil eye can kill him. So from this thing we explain that evil eye doesn't sound so scary. Right? Evil eye only sounds like it could only hurt you if you were destined to be hurt, and then it's depending on how you're going to get hurt. But the Chazon Ish continues, and he says that there are certain people that are inscribed, and he speaks specifically about life and death. There are certain people that are inscribed not to live and not to die. It's sort of like, let's see. It's called going with the time. It says if you live, good. If you die, also good. It's sort of the books was left very vague, very open. That type of person, says the Chazon Ish, evil eye can kill him. And says the Chazon Ish, since we don't know, who knows that we have this protection? That we said, that God said we're going to, no one knows that we said that we're going to live to the next year. Nobody knows, so hence everybody needs to be fearful of the evil eye. It says, understood? Is that clear? Okay, let's see. So this is something that is very important, that this is coming back from a huge rabbi, right? Talking about Israel, one of the biggest rabbis, the Chazon Ish.
There's one thing you're allowed to be jealous of. Right?
Torah, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there is the Peliyot. All right, he explains the evil eye very clearly. He says first of all, he says a person has to be careful not to put an evil eye on himself. Right, but now when a person goes and
how do you put an evil eye on yourself?
Okay, let's okay, fine. So let's just say in general, right? Not only can you put an evil eye on yourself, you can put an evil eye on your kids. Subconsciously, you're putting on.
Yeah, on yourself.
You mean because you're coming on the assumption that there's only jealousy. Jealousy is not the only source of getting an evil eye. How is it? So the Peliyot says that if someone gives, and this is based off of Zohar, says if someone gives a blessing to somebody else, and just it's like, oh man, that's that's not a blessing, a compliment. I'm sorry. If someone gives a compliment to somebody else, they'll be like, oh, nice car, and that's it.
Feel like
Counting also, yeah. But he says if someone just gives, he gives we'll speak about that later. So if someone gives oh wow, your daughter, so good looking. I don't know why that's a worst example. That's a terrible example, right? I don't know why I said that. But like let's say he's going and he wants to set him up with a date of their son, right? So he goes to his daughter, it's like, oh, your daughter's very pretty, can I set up? So by just giving somebody a compliment, you can give an evil eye based off that. Says the Peliyot, right? How do you negate that? Says the Peliyot, you go immediately and you give him a blessing. You have a nice car, may God continue to give you good cars, or whatever it is. Oh, you have such a great business, may God help you with your business. By just giving him a compliment, and say, if somebody goes into someone's store, let's say, and it's so packed full, he's like, wow, yeah, it's really packed. You're doing well, I see. And then he just leaves, right? The next day, store's empty. Right? He's going, that guy gave me an evil eye. I knew that guy gave me an evil eye. Right? So a person has to be, when a person gives somebody a compliment, you're praising somebody about something, immediately give him a blessing. That, says the Peliyot, based on the Zohar, is going to negate the evil eye of that. Where do we see this? We see this in the Torah. We see in Devarim. Devarim is Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 10. It says, Moses he sees the Jews, and he says, there's so many Jews. It says, Hashem Elokechem, Hilbe'etchem, V'inechem hayom, he says, oh, look at you, you're so many, like a bunch of stars. So, not like stars, like each one is like stars, like many in the amount. And stars also, everyone's a star. Okay, so he says that, so what is Moses doing? He's giving us an evil eye, he's just saying that. That's why the next pasuk, he says with a blessing, Hashem Elokei Avotechem, Yosef Alachem Kachem Elef Pa'amim. He says, oh God, may God continue to bless you up to 1,000 times. God, he said a praise, and immediately afterwards he said a blessing. And that's the way that a person has to be, when a person gives someone a compliment, gives someone a praise, immediately right afterwards, say a blessing with it. He says a person also says a Peliyot. So the person, if you want to look it up, it's in the Peliyot. Peliyot separated as things based on letters on the alphabet. So it's under Ayin for Ayin Ara. So over there he explains, he says that He says when you have to also be careful how you protect yourself from the evil eye. Sometimes you go and you give someone a compliment, and he says, "What? You give me an evil eye? Khamsa, khamsa, khamsa." You know, he does all his charades that he does, right? To try to protect for the evil eye. And meanwhile, he's insulting his friend. He just gave him a compliment. He's like, "What are you? I'm your friend. You think I'm here to give you an evil eye? I wanted to give you a compliment." So a person has to be careful how he does this. He protects himself from the evil eye, right? There's sometimes, first of all, the knock on wood we said last week is completely garbage, right? And you should stay away from it because it's more idol worship than anything else. But let's say you don't know that, and let's say somebody used to do that. Somebody gave you a blessing, and you start knocking, and trying to take away the evil eye. So you're really insulting the other guy. You're insulting him because it's what? I'm your friend. You think I'm in here to give you an evil eye? I gave you a compliment. Come on, right? So a person has to be careful, says the Peleiotes, how you protect yourself from the evil eye. So now, clear so far, right? Okay, good. Try to make this as simple as possible. It says that evil eye also has halachic practical applications. If somebody, there's a Gemara in Bava Batra, right? 2b, that it says that a person is not allowed to stand in someone else's field while the crops are fully grown. Because why? He's going to put an evil eye in it. Why are you sitting there looking at someone else's stuff? They're like, oh yeah. You know how it is? Every time somebody's doors open, you look at the people walking the street, everybody's so interested in looking inside people's houses. Right? What do you care? What is the difference to how the inside looks? Right? People look inside, people want to take,
Can you use that example and relate it to real life today?
Looking at...
Someone shouldn't stand in the crops up there?
So, we don't deal now with farming. Yeah.
It's not going to be as potent.
It's not going to be, because what am I going to say? Your store is full of product? It's supposed to be full of product. Otherwise, it's not.
Yeah.
The potency is disappearing.
So here's an interesting question that actually came. We spoke about this last time. It came over to Rabbi Meir Eliyahu in Israel. It says there were two people that lived, that families lived far away. They wanted to do. They were both getting married. They were both very close friends. They were getting married to two other. It was a very close knit wedding. They said, listen, they both didn't have money. So let's save money. Let's do a double wedding. Double up. Anyways, our friends are your friends. Your friends are our friends. Let's do it together. Save money. So they went and asked the rabbi. The rabbi says. And he said you're not allowed to do it because of evil eye. Now what's the evil eye? So somebody's going to go on there, someone is single, is getting married. He says, look at this. Two people are getting married in one day, I can't even find the girl. Subconsciously that's going to come. So it says that's why he says you because of the evil eye, you don't get to get married on the same day. There's an additional, this week, in the Parasha, God gave a commandment to count the Jews. Right? It's the third time that God said to count the Jews. Now, how are the Jews counted? The Jews are counted by, giving machatzit shekel, giving a half a shekel, a half a coin. It's not literally half; it's a value of a half a coin. So, the question is, why don't you just start counting? It says you're not allowed to count. You're not allowed to count people. That's why if you're a leader minyan, you don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In Yiddish, they do something. You find the sentence. They found a sentence that has 10 words in it, and they count it based off those words. Or you count
by the alphabet. J is Jew. 10.
So A, B, C, D, F. But it's also you have to be careful. You're not supposed to count. So how they used to count? They used to put a bunch of money inside, and they used to count the money, right? And then they would count the money, and they'll figure out how many Jews are going to be there. Because it says that things that are I don't know if this is the main source, but if things that are counted do not have the blessing is things that are hidden, that are not counted. There's also things that speaks about that certain things that the demons have ability to infringe upon from things that were counted versus things that were not counted, things like that. So
you said something about the double marriage. Quick question: you're allowed to do that, right?
No, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to because of the evil eye, right? You're not supposed to double up because of the evil eye. Okay, so there's additional thing that and I said this last week. I said that it says that if you're not particular about the evil eye, if you don't worry about it too much, it's not going to affect you. I thought I found a source for it. I looked up the source, and it wasn't. It was an incorrect source. It was a source for demons, not for evil eye. So. There is things that I have yet to find a source for it, right? They say that the source is in Psachim. The trait it's Psachim 110b. And I looked it up, and maybe I didn't look it up in depth, but it speaks about there that demons have something that if it's impures or if it's not impures, or things that are counted. That's the whole thing I was saying about. They are able to have access to those things. They're able to take it, whatever, damage and things like that. So over there, this is a very common thing that you speak to Jewish people, and they say, "Oh, if you don't worry about it, it's not going to affect you." There is an halacha that in the Orach Chaim that he speaks about, the Shulchan Aruch, he says that if, let's say, you're not supposed to, if you have two brothers, and they both want to get an aliyah to the Torah, right? They want to be called up to Torah. You're not allowed to do one after another. You're not allowed to do one brother after another brother, right? Or father or son, right? Why not? Because of the evil eye. And says the halakha, even if they say, I don't care about evil eye, I don't believe in this stuff. So still, you're not allowed to. Even if they say that, you're still not allowed to give them two aliyot one after another. So here we see that even if somebody is not, particular about it, he still refrains from it. So I do have a question on that. And how is it possible that if you say that you're not, if you don't worry about it, it doesn't affect you as much? So, okay, so moving on, it's, they say also that a woman is not supposed to wear all of her jewelry when she goes outside. She's just attracting attention to herself for no reason. There's also the same source, the same idea is, that the fish. Have you ever, the chamsa? So we're going to speak about later the chamsa, but if you ever look at the chamsa, sometimes it has fishes on it. It has pictures of fish on it. Now, what's the fish? The fish is something also against the evil eye. The reason being is that the fish is under the water, so nobody can see the fish. So the fish is away from the possibility of getting an evil eye. Now, my question originally when I had looking this up, I'm like, okay, the fish are on the ground, but fish see other fish. I don't know, what does it mean? So what is it? So, but if you think about it, the only people that give an evil eye is the humans. Humans have the ability to give an evil eye. Fish are the fish going to give an evil eye to another fish. I was going to say, oh man, you look fatter than me. Fish have very short-term memory span, right? So, who said that? Goldfish has like 3-second memory span, right? Life is an adventure every 3 seconds. Okay, so, but that's the point. It's hidden from the eye, and that's why it says that it's also, you realize fish have so many babies, more than any other creature. Maybe cockroaches. I think cockroaches have a ton of babies. Spiders also do. But fish in general have tons of babies. You have a fish tank, they give birth to like 20 kids at a time, right? It says the evil eye has no effect on them because they're under the sea. No one sees them. No one deals with them. No one says, oh, what a pretty fish. Right? Once you stick it in the aquarium, it's something else. But Abraham was saying earlier that there is something which I wasn't going to mention. The Gemara in Brachot, page 55b, says that if you want to take away the evil eye, you put the left hand in the right thumb in the left hand, the left thumb in the right hand, and you say, the name, son of of your mother, has come from the seed of Joseph, with no evil eye has any impact, right? And we're going to soon explain why Joseph specifically has no evil eye impact on the evil eye. He's like protected from the evil eye. So there's additional, regarding Joseph, it says that somebody was a descendant of Joseph, and he used to sit in a place where a lot of people, Rabbi Yochanan, he used to sit in a place where a lot of people would pass by, and he was a very good-looking guy. So he says, you're not afraid of the evil eye? He says, I'm not afraid of the evil eye because I'm a descendant of Joseph. So because I'm a descendant of Joseph, the descendants of Joseph have no effect on the evil eye. Okay, so how are we going to protect? Now we're moving on to phase, whatever number we're up to, how to protect from evil eye, right? So last time we gave five ways how to protect yourself from evil eye, but now we're going to go into depth and try to explain it. So the number one is be modest. Don't flaunt your blessings to everybody else in the face, because that's just you're basically just asking for it. Somebody, they live in a very bad area. Let's use the example of the car. I think that's very easy. They live in a poor area, and they drive, their $150,000 Mercedes, down the road. What do you think? Nobody's going to look? Even now, like you go to a place like Brooklyn, where you have a lot of people that are very wealthy and they drive very fancy cars, but you'll see a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, it still turns heads, right? If you go to Dubai, I don't think it's going to turn so much heads, because everybody there has it. Depends if it's in solid silver or gold, then maybe yeah. But otherwise, it's not going to turn his head. You see a Rolls Royce, it's not going to turn your head so much over there as it will over here, right? So, number one is be modest. Now, there is a lot to explain about this. There are people that, and I've actually met these people. They'll come over to you and be like, oh, thank God, I just closed a business deal today, $50,000 cash. Oh, shtabach shemocha, thank God. And it didn't even happen. Just a lie. He didn't even close any deal. He's just going to, make himself feel good. So, oh yeah, I just solid business deal today. Wait, what are you lying for? What are you bringing things up that are completely not true? And now people are going to put an evil eye in you. And I've had this, many times. I was sitting, this is how I know when I was in real estate, I knew not to deal with certain people. How did I know? One time I was on the phone with somebody. He called me, and he's like, and after a few minutes, he's like, okay, I have to close this $1 million deal. I gotta go. I'm like, good luck on the $1 million deal and goodbye. You know. I didn't tell him I'm not interested. I told you right away. I knew that this guy's ready. He's not. If you're closing $1 million deal, you have no need to tell anybody else you're closing $1 million deal. Rather, you just have to feel that you're trying to say important. But why do people do that? Why do people go and say that they, something that didn't happen? What do they gain from that? They boost their ego up a little bit. That's all they do.
Self-esteem.
Self-esteem, boost their ego. Yeah, it's all ego. It's all pride. I'll tell you, I was once sitting in a meeting, and I knew. It's so funny because the two people that were talking to each other, I knew both of them. And they were speaking about what they drive. One guy was saying, yeah, I drive this $150,000 Mercedes. And the other guy says, I drive this $80,000 Jaguar. I knew both of them. Both of them did not drive even a fraction of the price of what that car costs, right? They drove a used car, old car. It was nothing. And I'm looking at them, and they're spanning off, and they're like, oh yeah, they're saying the horsepower and all the other specs that they're giving off. And this one's saying, oh yeah, and I paid cash for it. And it's all, I'm like saying, they're shocked. So, I probably shouldn't have done it, So, I mentioned something and they were like, oh, this one, yeah, I forgot my car in the house. Oh, and this mine is in the shop. All of a sudden it's in the shop, it's in that. All lies. What? You're telling somebody that you're driving a $150,000 Mercedes when you don't even have the gas to pay for that $150,000 Mercedes. Why are people doing that? The answer is they're the opposite of being modest. They got to show how important they are. Oh, I'm successful. Look at what I did. That's not going to gain you anything in the other person's eyes, right? When somebody goes and starts overshooting and overkilling and saying, oh, look at all this that I have accomplished, people already start looking down at him. Nobody's interested in dealing with such a person, especially if it's all fake, it's all lies. So this is where, sitting in the meeting, I knew both of these. But let's say somebody else, right? He's driving whatever. Poor guy driving a Lexus. Right? He's sitting over there, and he's driving Lexus. He's like, oh, this guy has a $150,000 Mercedes, and and we're working in the same company, we're doing the same things. He's like, oh, that's bad. And it hurts him. He's like, how did this guy get it and I don't? And this guy's causing suffering to somebody else. And this suffering, God forbid, goes up to heaven. And because of that, this other guy's going to get, or can get, an evil eye based on that. So number one is be modest. Don't flaunt your things. Don't flaunt your blessings. Keep it personal. Keep it private. There's additional thing there's a Gemara in Baba Metzia, page 42a, that says "Habracha be'asamecha." The blessing is in the silo, which is the blessing comes from things that are hidden from the view. Things that are hidden, those are the things that are going to get blessed on. There's there's also the Gemara in Tainus, page 8b, which says that the blessing only is that which is concealed from the eye. He says, whereas when I'm sure you heard this blessing before. When Jacob blessed Ephraim and Menashe, which was Joseph's kids, he said the blessing was Hamalach Hagol Otim Mikol Ra Yivarech Et HaNe'arim Beikara Behem Shmi B'Shem Avotai Avraham Yitzchak V'Yigdu Larov B'Kerev Haaretz. V'Yigdu. He blessed him like fish. Why is he blessing him like fish? Weird blessing. I blessed you like the fish. What's a blessing of the fish? The answer is because the fish don't have the evil eye. Give you a blessing that you like the fish that you don't have evil eye. That because they're hidden, they're modest, and they're flaunting their whatever that they have. That's number one. Moving on to number two. Number two is that a person has to be happy with what you have, right? If you're this is going to explain Joseph. We said before that Joseph, he didn't get affected with the evil eye. Why didn't he get affected with the evil eye? Because he went and he didn't get things that weren't belonging to him. The example is, if you're not familiar with the story, Joseph was a very handsome man. He was very good looking, and he was sold as a slave to this very high profile character in Egypt. And his wife was known as one of the most beautiful women at the time, wanted to seduce him. And she convinced him from today until tomorrow, proofs like I'm not really married, look at the stars. She gave him proofs, like solid proofs, and saying that me and you need to be together. And still he said no. He says, you belong to my master, you don't belong to me. He says his eyes were not on something that somebody else's belonged. He got blessed, right? And he was really, but from the age of 30 till 110, he basically was second to the king. He ruled the entire world. Which other Jewish king ruled for 80 years? He ruled for 80 years and he was in charge of all the money of the world. So that's why it says, I don't know if you hear the Sfaradim, Ben Porat Yosef, the Ben Porat Yosef, Ben Porat Ale Ayin. Have you ever heard of that, Ben Porat Yosef? Somebody, how there's like Li Ayin Hara? Have you ever heard of that? Without an evil eye, they say. So some people say Ben Porat Yosef. Joseph, Ben Porat Yosef, Ben Porat Ale Ayin. Which means is that he was higher than the eye. He was higher than the evil eye. And hence the evil eye has no effect on him. And this is going to bring us to the fifth example where we're going to explain that if you don't give an evil eye to somebody else, that can't come onto you. Right? It's going to attach the two of them. Okay, so it says additionally that it says that there's a Gemara in Sota. In Sota, page 9a to 9b, actually it goes on for a lot. It says that if you go for what you don't have, then even what you have you will lose. And they bring a bunch of proof for that. It says, for example, the sota. The sota was a woman that committed an adulterous act. She cheated on her husband. So a woman that cheats on her husband, right, and got caught and yada yada, the whole, everybody found out about it and everything. She is not allowed to be with her husband anymore, and she's not allowed to marry the adulterer. She's forbidden to stay married to the husband. He has to divorce her, and she's forbidden to also marry the guy who she cheated on with. So here is we see a perfect case. You wanted to try to get something that you don't have. You're going to lose what you have, and you're not going to be able to get what you wanted. You hear that? She lost what she had. She lost her husband. She lost what she wanted, which was adultery. They were not forbidden to marry her, to marry them. Additionally, you have the snake. The snake and the serpent with the first original sin with Adam and Chava. So Adam and Eve. The snake wanted to try to kill Adam so he can be with Chava. He can be with Eve. So it says that not only did he lose he was supposed to be the king of the animals. He ended up going to be the lowest, one of the cursed of the animals. He originally had legs that he was walking upright. He eventually got cut off and then he was on the ground, right? God made the separation between the Eve and the snake. They put an enmity, like a hatred between that. And now, like for example, everything that the snake eats, it all tastes like soil. He could eat a gazelle, he could eat a raccoon. They all taste the same thing. So he got punished. He wanted something that he couldn't have. He lost everything that he had. This is how careful a person has to be to not want something that you don't have. I want to explain this. There's also coming up is Purim. Purim. There's the story with Haman. Haman. He was a very, very powerful person in the story of the Purim. He was, he was very wealthy. He had family. He had power. He had everything going for him. He had kids. He had a wife. He had everything that was going for him. One thing was not going for him. One Jew didn't bow down to him. All the Jews in the entire place, in the entire area, bowed down to him. All the non-Jews bowed down to him. There was one guy that didn't bow down to him, and that's what he couldn't stand. He's like, oh, that guy. He's like, and what did he say? He said, it's not worth it to me. Everything, if that guy doesn't bow down to me, look how high his ego went up. He went for something that he couldn't have. It ended up he lost everything. He got hung. His 10 kids got hung. He lost his power. He lost everything. He lost everything because he went for something that he can't have. And if you go look at the Gemara over there in Sotah, it brings a bunch of cases, like 5, 6, 7 cases or more of people that they went for something that they couldn't have and they lost what they had. So that's number 2. Be happy with what you have. Go for something that you don't have. Number 3. Any questions so far? We're good. Okay. Number 3 is that Rabbi Eliyahu says this in Israel. He says that evil eye, if you want to take it away, you increase in kindness, increase in chesed. Now, I said this once at a lecture, and I said, I never understood the thing, and somebody brought this up, and I think it was I don't know if it's the right, if it's the reason for it, but it's a nice idea. There are certain people that you're just like, oh, that guy deserves it. I'm happy that guy became a millionaire. Such a sweet guy, such a nice guy, so he does so good for the community. That guy deserves it. Sometimes that people feel like that. So this is how the guy that was sitting in the class he explained to me. He says maybe when you increase in kindness, everybody's going to love you. Everyone's going to love you. Everyone's going to be like, no, that everyone's going to be happy for you. No one's going to put an evil eye in it. I like that explanation a lot. I don't know if it's the 100% the way the Torah means, but I liked it. So that's number 3. Number 4 is probably the most potent one. Is pray. You got to pray to God. We pray to God every day after Bikot HaShachar. It says, save me from a bad person, a bad friend, right? Save me from an evil eye. It's one of the things that we actually pray for. You have to say, please save me, protect me from an evil eye. Okay, and the 5th and the last one, which is correlating to number 2, was that, and this I heard from Rabbi Zachariah Wallerstein. He says that everything is measure for measure. God works measure for measure. If you don't go and put an evil eye in somebody else, that person can't go and put an evil eye in you. So which means is that if the person never puts an evil eye in anybody else, he looks at everybody like, oh, this guy deserves his Mercedes, this guy deserves his Lexus, this guy deserves his Lamborghini, this guy deserves his Bugatti, everybody deserves everything. He's not upset about it. He doesn't want anything from it. He's just happy for what he has, and he's happy for what the other guy has. So such a person, let's say he got, he struck rich, and he bought a Lexus. And now another guy says, oh, he puts an evil eye in him. He says, oh, how come he has it and I don't? And so they go up to heaven, picture the scenario we did before.
The evil eye goes if you think about person, not about car, for example, right? If you're just walking on the street.
What's the evil eye against the car? Like that car should be mine?
No, if you're just walking and you see that, let's say, Bentley,
Right.
Rolls Royce, and you said, "Oh, nice car."
Nice car, something else.
And the car falls, the stone falls.
But if you said,
Meteorite is flying and
but if you say, why this guy have Rolls Royce?
Yeah. So
Sorry.
wow, what
Thank you so
the?
much.
If
This
you
is
said,
not my car.
Not what are
if you said, why this guy have this Rolls Royce? This is evil eye. Right?
Yes, yeah. So if you just say nice car, it's something else.
Nice car,
but then,
right?
but then it's a thing. Remember, we said depending if you're just giving a compliment to the car, it's nice car, it's something else. But again, you should always, if you're giving it to the person, nice car, you should always give them a blessing afterwards. But if it's just the car itself, it's a car, a nice car. You like it, it's shiny, it's nice, whatever. It's fast, it's cool. So that's something else. So okay. So all right. So the way that it works is thank you very very much. May God bless you and continue blessing you. I gotta make it worth it for him to go. Okay. So now, when the evil eye, that if somebody goes and never puts an evil eye on anybody else, which means he looks at everybody always with a good evil eye. So now somebody goes, God forbid, and puts an evil eye on him. So they go up to heaven and be like, all right, let's open his books. Let's see if he deserves this. So your angel, because you never gave an evil eye, says, you're not opening nothing. Says this guy never caused anybody else's books to be opened. You can't open his books. Says this guy never caused an evil eye to anybody else. Evil eye, he creates like this shield, this invisible shield. Evil eye just like deflects off it. Right? Now, what is the source of evil eye? The source of evil eye is, we said, is how come this guy has it and this guy doesn't? To explain this idea, yeah, one of the main things is jealousy. So, but to explain this idea, is a picture of the scenario. You have a guy that's an actor. He's a lead actor. He's a great actor. Gets paid millions of dollars, and he's he's acting a scene. And in the scene, he is a poor genius, and that can't make it big, but he's like a genius guy. And then there's a guy that's like his manager, who is like rolling in money, and he's successful, and he drives a nice car, and he's basically speaking down to this poor guy, causing him like you stupid idiot, even though he's the one who's making all the money, he is just speaking down to him. And this main actor who's playing this poor guy, he's like thinking, he's like I don't understand. It's like, I'm the main actor here. I'm getting paid the big bucks. Why is that guy being the rich guy and I'm being the poor guy? So I'm the main guy. And he says, you know what? I had it. He says, now he starts reading the script for the rich guy. The director is sitting there filming this thing, and suddenly he switches characters. He starts acting the manager, and everybody gets confused. And the manager's like, "Cut! What are you doing? What are you? You're speaking. You're saying the wrong. You're speaking the wrong role." So he says, "I changed my mind. I want to be the rich guy. It's not fitting for me to be a poor guy." He says, "Come on, I'm a rich guy. You're gonna put me playing a poor role?" So the director is like, he's like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "You're just acting here. We all know you're the rich guy. This is just the acting. When you finish this, go and leave, live your rich life." And the actor's like, "No. What do you mean? I'm rich. I play rich." So he pulls over the actor, this rich actor, puts his hand around him, walks him out to the parking lot, and he goes to him and says, "How many Bugattis you see?" Whoever doesn't know what a Bugatti is, it's one of the most expensive cars. No, what are they worth? Like over $1 million each. So he says, "How many Bugattis you see?" So he says, "One." He says, "Who does it belong to?" He says, "Me." So he says, "You play the scene, and then you go drive your Bugatti around. Okay, just you play your scene right now, because that's what's going to get you that Bugatti." So he says, "You act your way, what you're supposed to be, and then you live however you live life in a different way." Everybody in their life we all play a lead role. In our own movie, we play a lead role. And our role is, whether sometimes it's rich, sometimes it's not rich. Sometimes it's healthy, sometimes it's not healthy. By you being jealous and saying, "Oh, I would like that guy," you're just saying that you don't want to play your role, you want to play his role. You're the lead actor in your movie. It's like, what are you worried about that guy? It says, and especially Jews that get jealous of non-Jews. It says, we get paid the big bucks. The main actor is going to get paid a lot more than an extra. An extra, if he messes up, it doesn't really matter so much. So, he was walking a little bit crooked, didn't walk on the lines in the background. No one cares. But if a main lead messes up on a line, they have to redo the scene again. Because he's getting paid the big bucks, and the main thing is on him. The Jewish people have the main, we are the lead role, right? Hence, we have the most obligations, 613 mitzvot. We have a lot to do. But that's why you get paid the big bucks. When you're starting to say, "Oh, look at whatever, all these actors that are making millions and billions or whatever they're making," says, "Oh, and then this guy is struggling to pay bills," you're playing a role now. All you're playing is a role. After 120, you go and you're going to cash in. You're going to be driving your Bugatti in the next world, right? Lahavdil, right? Which means it's
not sure. That's why it's harder for them.
Yeah, obviously, but we have to explain it. I'll tell you.
You believe in what you see,
100%. I'm not. It's easier said than done. It's easier said than done, but it's good to say it.
That's why the angels came here, they fall from the sky because they're jealous to the man, and then
Right.
they couldn't.
Right. But the idea is that if you live your own life, you're realizing life is short. Life is crazy short. The older, you know what I realized? The older you get, the faster life goes by. I don't know if anybody can agree with me. The older I get, I'm like, you know what? It's already, it's already almost Purim. Can you believe it? It's already almost summer. Winter just started. I don't like winter. I mean, I'm happy that summer comes, but time just goes past by. Before you know it, you're 100 years old. Maybe the will of all of you to live long lives, right? But say amen. When a person gets, what is he going to live? What is he going to think about it in his life? There's very few things that are going to matter. Not what Lexus he was driving, 50 years ago, right? But rather, the few things that are going to matter is, did he act his role? Did he know his role? Did he act the way he was supposed to act? Was he a real religious Jew? Did he act the way he was supposed to? Did he spend time with his family? Did he do yada yada yada? All those important things are the ones that you have to be focused on. I'll tell you a very cute example I heard from Rabbi when he was speaking about this topic, is that he says imagine this elite group of soldiers, and they are going in a very, very secret mission, top secret mission, and so top secret that they were all trained across the board in all areas of their specialties. Like everybody knew everything, how to do every other person's job. But they got a certain black bag and they had to put it in the knapsack. They didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. No one knew who was the sniper. No one knew who was the lookout. No one knew who was the radio guy. Nobody knew who was anything. When did they know? Once they got down to the ground, they opened their bags and they saw what role they were going to. They were so top secret that they couldn't even tell the soldiers where they were going, what they were doing, and even what they were pretending, what their role was. So imagine some guy goes over there and he opens up his thing, and one guy opens up, he sees a sniper. He's like, awesome, yeah, I got a sniper, cool. Holds up over here, it feels really cool. The other guy opens up, he sees a walkie-talkie. He's like, oh, come on, I want to be a sniper. He says, you know what, screw it. And he points his walkie-talkie, and he goes, pew, pew. Like a little kid starts to do it. So what are you doing, man? He says, you're the radio guy. Stop pretending to be the sniper. You're playing the wrong role. And when people are jealous, when people have this evil eye, they are playing the wrong role. They're looking at somebody else. That's not your role. It's obviously easier said than done, but once you know about it and you can think about it, then you can already, it's already easier to overcome. The source for this is in the Gemara in Brachot 20b, that if one doesn't want something that what others have, he's less susceptible to the evil eye than have somebody to take away something that he has already. Right? He becomes immune to that effect. Okay, so those are the 5 things that are protection against the evil eye. Okay, we're good at that. We're clear. Okay, so now let's speak about a few things that we mentioned last week. I wanted to get through it. Red string, Hamsa, a few other important things. So the red string. Where does the red string come from? So I heard a bunch of reasons, which I want to go through, where the source might be for the red string, but I haven't yet to find a place that says red string, is because of this. Source, Kabbalah, the Zohar. I haven't found anything that it's legit like that. People try to explain the red string of what its source is from. So number one is that there was a certain worm, and that there was the dye that it came out like they were able to make red dye from the red thread, I should say, from this worm, and this was used to build in the Mishkan, in the sanctuary. So it was from why did they use a worm? From the lowest, it was from the lowest. The worm is like from under the ground. It's like the lowest of the low. So he said, why does that have to do with the anything that in the Mishkan or what happens with anything? So Rav Dassel explains. He says that evil eye, we said, is a source of jealousy, which means is somebody gets blessed. God blesses that person, and he is very successful, very wealthy. Now let's say that blessing gets to his head. Certain people that they get very, once they realize that they make a certain amount of money, this is what, they can't go to certain places if it's going to be a bunch of low-class people. What are you talking about? I'm in the billionaires club, There are going to be just millionaires over there, I can't go. There are people, by the way, like that. They won't go into certain, if let's say they get invited to a wedding, it depends who's going to be at the wedding. Where am I going to be sitting at the wedding? Otherwise, I'm not going to go. It gets really to their head. And that type of person, so his source of blessing, he's misusing it. Not only he's using it for the wrong thing. He's getting pride. He's getting haughtiness. So his source of blessing is becoming a source of destruction for him. So hence they said, okay, take this red string, make this thing that is red, what red resembles from the red string from the worm, and you're going to see the red string and realize it comes from the worm. Where are we all destined to come from? To the ground. We're eaten by the worms. So you'll become humble. You become humility. Your pride will go, will shoot down with you. So that was one reason that I saw that a person, that each time a person looks at the red string, so not that it, a lot of people say you have the red strings protecting from other people. It says no, it's protecting from yourself. Protecting from yourself, they don't get yourself too much in the ear. And this way you're going to see it, you're going to say, okay, fine, down to the low. So that was one thing. Additionally, I saw there was in a Tosefta that it speaks about, that says, not only are you're not supposed to wear a red string, then you're not allowed to wear a red string. But it says it's called the Chayamali. It goes in the way of the non-Jews used to wear red strings. We're actually going to see later at the end where I'm going to bring you sources that the red strings was back in Chinese and Irish and in English, folklore. They used to do this also. So the red string, he says that you're not supposed to do that. Some rabbis say red string, they don't go speak against it. I don't know if any rabbis say that actually it works. But some rabbis don't speak against it, some rabbis speak against it. That's the idea. The other thing is what we spoke about last thing is that if you see red is very attracts to the eye. So let's say somebody wants to give somebody an evil eye, not intentionally even, but they'll see the red string, they'll be like, oh, and they'll completely stop whatever they're thinking about and they'll look at that. That's why if you see people that walk in the street wearing flashy clothes, your eyes just are looking there. The police car drives past by with lights on, your eyes somehow attracted to the lights. You can't look away like a moth. Right? You're attracted to the shiny thing. So when you're going and you're sitting and you're looking into, trying to give somebody else an evil eye, you'll see the red string will distract you, and hence the evil eye won't come into effect. Okay, we're almost finished. So there's another additional reason for the red eye. I said this last time also. the red string. So they say that they go to Rachel Imenu's, Rachel's tomb in Israel, and they walk around it 7 times, whatever they do, they say a certain prayer, and then they go and they sell this red string. So what does that have to do with why Rachel's tomb? Right? Why specifically her tomb? So it says that she was, the story that went with her, she was really supposed to marry Jacob. Right? She was one of the mothers. Her and her sister both married Jacob. Rachel and Leah both married Jacob. But Rachel, she was the one who was supposed to get married first. Now, at the last minute, her father switched it. He gave because her sister was older, he says the older one marry Jacob. So now she knew that her father was going to play some sort of game, so she made codes with Jacob. With Jacob, says, listen, my father might play a trick on me that I'm not going to be there. So let me tell you, let's make a code, and that way under the chuppah you'll know, because they can't see you, they're very very modest. So you'll know if it's me or not by saying the code, and I'll answer you the secret code. So her sister went and she was going to switch it. Now she was thinking, she says, listen. So if my sister stands over there and Jacob says the code, and all of a sudden she's not going to know the code, then she's going to get embarrassed. So and she was thinking, and it was really hard for her because she was basically taking away her husband. She said no, she didn't want to embarrass her sister. She goes to her sister, and she never told. By the way, she never told her sister that he was really supposed to marry me, and now he's marrying you. She just told her, and as a matter of fact, what the codes were. Like she didn't even tell her what the code was, because the code was going to be a question. What does a man say to a woman when he comes home, on Friday? So she just said, something cool. If a man comes home to a woman on Friday, he says to his wife, he says X, Y, and Z. He says these three things. So she says, all right, weird piece of information. Well, okay. And then Jacob asked her that on the wedding day, and she says, oh, that's so weird. I just knew that. And she gives the answer. So Jacob thought, okay, I got the right one. And because of that, they ended up getting married, and Rachel lost marrying her husband, which was Jacob, for a certain amount of years. Now, or some say it was only for a week, whatever it was, but she gave basically her husband to somebody else. And throughout the entire marriage, Rachel never put it in her face and be like, oh, well, he's my husband, really, and it was just, like accident. She never brought it up. She never put it in her face to to her sister that she was really belonging to her. It says, because she never caused jealousy on herself or her sister, it says hence they go around specifically her grave, because she was the one who gave up all for her sister. She had a good eye. She was only looking for the good. So measure for measure, that's why also who was her son? Her son was Joseph. Joseph also has no effect on the evil eye. Okay, so this was also just a lesson in jealousy. Okay. So, but the main thing that a person has to realize is that a lot of people, with all these signs that we're going to soon mention, it's important to say that people go and, they're so worried about evil eye. They're so worried about all these superstition. Meanwhile, they don't keep Shabbat. They don't keep kosher. They don't do this. They don't do that. I'm like, this is the last thing that you need to worry about. You know what it says? Speaking about Shabbat, we're not going to get to speak about this week's Parasha. But let me read you what this week's Parasha speaks about Shabbat. And it's very important that we read it inside how important is Shabbat. Right? This is in Exodus if you want to look inside, it's chapter 31, verse 12. It goes verse 12, and you go. It says, you speak to the children of Israel about how important it is of keeping the Shabbat, and it says, whoever desecrates the Shabbat will be put to death, and whoever for whoever does work on it, his soul shall be cut off from among his people. Let me read it to you in Hebrew. This is getting together Shabbat. Okay. You should watch the Shabbat because it's holy to you. It says, one who desecrates the Shabbat, must, is going to die. Not once, it says twice. It says you're going to die twice. What does it mean die? Die in this world and die in the next world. Very serious punishment for people that don't keep Shabbat. And it says, and then it goes on. It doesn't stop over there with just dying. It says, whoever desecrates the Shabbat, not only die, also the soul gets cut off. God's basically pushing you away. It's so people don't keep the Shabbat. They don't keep the Torah, but they're worried about the evil eye, right? They'll do the knocking on the wood, and they're spilling in the salt, and they're looking at they're not going to whistle, not going to open up an umbrella on the house. They'll do all the things that are fake, but the real things they're not going to get, right? It's not their fault really, because the Satan knows its job, right? He knows how to do. He knows what to do. He knows what to get you by. But a person wants to protect himself from the evil eye. Stop worrying about all these little, nonsense. You keep the stuff that God told you to keep. You'll be protected. God has a promise. I'm going to watch my kids, right? Don't go against God. Stay with God. Okay. So now, let's. It's interesting. We're speaking about the red string. There is here's some interesting things. In English and Irish folklore, it says go dating back to the year 1040, right? Which is talking about almost 1,000 years ago. They said they used to tie red strings in different parts of the body to cure different ailments. So they used to do it if they would tie it around the neck to cure a whooping cough. Some people used to tie it around the neck to cure nosebleeds. And don't try this; it's all nonsense. Tie around the neck; it's also choking. They also used to tie it around the neck for babies to protect for the teething. So and they had the pregnant woman would wrap it around certain fingers, and they would do certain things. Everybody had their whole thing about that. So all this stuff, nonsense. Let's speak a little bit about the Hamsa, right? So you guys are familiar with the Hamsa?
It's a hand, right?
What?
Hand?
Yeah, it's a hand. The hand that looks like two thumbs. The hand that looks like one thumb is like that. And then they put some eyes in it, and they put some fish in it, and they put some, Kabbalistic works on it. So no one's sure of its original source. Most think that its original source is actually Muslim. Because some people say the hand is really the hand of Miriam. They say that's the hand of Miriam. The Muslims, if you go, which dates back more than the Jewish people, that's why they think that it's basically Muslim. The hand is the hand of Fatima, the Prophet Muhammad's daughter. They put her hand, and the 5 fingers represent the 5 pillars of Islam. The Jews go and say no, the 5 pillars represent the 5 books of Moses, right? So go figure which one is the thing. But primarily I was asked. So let's say someone has a hamsa in his house, so he should take it off. So it says, being that the rabbis don't protest against it, he's not, the people don't protest against it. So it might be okay. It might be okay but the source is unclear. Is it from Islam? Is it from again, the fact that the hand is from Islam, but all the rest of the engravings on it is usually Jewish stuff. So, okay, well, let's finish up over here because it's getting late. So, let's finish up with some superstitious stuff. What?
Yeah.
Do I have another class?
I didn't get back to you.
I don't know yet.
I'll keep the phone.
Okay, so let's speak about a few superstitious stuff, and then we'll see if we'll review and we'll get any questions on the evil eye. Then, okay. So superstition, black cat. So there's a very big superstition with black cat. That number one, if a black cat crosses your path, it's bad luck to you. If a black cat walks, you're not allowed to cross over its line.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the source of that? So first of all, in England and Ireland, black cat is good luck. So now somebody's got to be wrong over here. It can't be both, right? It can't be this good luck and bad luck. So what is the so let's look at the source. Where does the black cat bad luck, good luck? Where does it all come from? So in the olden days, they used to see black cat that they used to deal with it with magic. Magic, the witches and wizards used to use black cats for magic. And also the Gemara also speaks about black cat, which I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. Because they believed that it was used for witches and demons and all those superficial things. So by them, the black cat crossing you, that means that it's basically cutting your connection to God. That's where the source comes from. So if it walks ahead of you and you cross it, you're basically that connection, because of all the witchcraft and the demon and whatever it is, came from that, you're bad luck. You coming bad luck because you disconnect yourself from God, right? Now, is this true? Is this not true? From the Jewish perspective, never seen anything about walking about in front of a black cat, seeing a black cat as bad, anything like that. The only source that I am familiar with regarding a black cat is that there's a Gemara in Brachot that says that if you want to see demons, and it gives you a whole type of ingredients, and if you want to look at and see how demons look, you take a placenta of a black cat, the daughter of a black cat, and you do certain things with it. We don't have to, give the whole ingredients over here. But the point is that is as far. Nowhere that I read, and again, I'm going to say all these things, and I'm saying it all based off my research, and based off my understanding, and based off its origination. That's where I'm going to base off my things. Now, I could be wrong in it, but from my understanding, black cat, nonsense. Right? You can skip rope back and forth with black cat. Right? As far as all the research that I did, I may be wrong, but so far I've yet to see. If anybody find anything online, if you find sources in the Jewish, please let me know. I would love to hear.
What did you think about cats?
Kills mice. Yeah, the mice problem bring the black cat. Probably do just as good as the white cat. That's about it. Okay. Broken mirror. Right? You guys have that. Don't look at a broken mirror. Bad luck for 7 years. Right? Okay, what's the source of that?
For 7 years?
Yeah.
It's all fake. Don't worry about it.
It's all fake.
Let me tell you where it's come from. So there is an ancient Greek divination called Captotromancy. If I might be pronouncing it wrong, it's divination by looking through like a mirror or glass or a crystal ball. They would look through the mirror and they would see based on your reflection how your future is. Right? Nonsense. All what's called. So where did this originate from was even before mirrors. Is people used to look at their reflection in the river. And if they saw like a broken reflection, they would say, okay, it's bad luck because it's something in the future. Later, it turned into the Romans. They say that every 7 years, the body goes under physical regeneration. And if you have a break in the mirror, it breaks that regeneration. That's why you have to wait another 7 years. So but where it originated from originally was in 15th century when they came out with mirrors. So originally mirrors were very expensive because it was glass with a backing of silver. So the servants not everybody had mirrors. People that had mirrors, they used the servants to clean the mirrors. Now, if the mirrors got broken, it was very, that's very expensive. So they used to, if a servant was cleaning a mirror and it broke, they would have to serve 7 years, under the master just as a payment, just to pay it back. So 7 years became 7 years here, 7 years there, and eventually it turned out you look at a broken mirror, you got 7 years of bad luck. So that's as
working for 7 years.
right. At all these sources. Now, one of them is Jewish. All of them just seems like it made up over the time and has nothing. That being said, I wouldn't keep a broken mirror because it's dangerous, and that's probably it. I mean, you don't have to, again, if there's anybody finds a source for a broken mirror than Judaism, please let me know.
Unfortunately, when somebody dies, they usually cover the mirrors.
That's for a different reason. Yeah, not for luck. Anything for suicide. So there's Kabbalistic reason and then there's halakhic reason. Okay, good, thank you. Okay, the knock on wood. Let me tell you where the knock on wood came from. So the knock on wood originated from originally where pagans used to believe that spirits used to live in the trees, and then when the trees turned into tables, the spirits still lived there. So they used to knock on the wood to wake up the spirits to protect them from whatever something. But they said that wake up, protect me, things like that. So Irish did this to thank the leprechauns. Right? Irish folklore. Look it up. They would touch the wood, it sends a thank you to the leprechauns, and that's for good luck.
No way.
I'm telling you, go look it up. The Greeks used to worship oak trees because it was sacred to the god Zeus. So they used to again knock on the wood maybe to wake him up to protect them. I don't know what he was doing. So it started from all idol worship. Then what happened? Then Christianity used to collect they collected all the trash. All the idol worships, come, join us. So what happened? They said that the Christianity, they used to, when they collected all the other pagan religions, they brought in some of their paganisms with their, into the religion. So, for example, the tree has nothing to do with Christianity. It was an Asherah cult. It was people used to worship trees. And then they wanted to bring them into Christianity, but they said, well, we worship trees. So the Christians said, no problem. Bring the trees in, we'll throw it in one day a year, and we'll all worship trees. So they sort of collected everybody together. So now the problem is they had knock on wood. What are we going to do about it? And the Christians had to change it into that. So they started saying the knock on wood is to resemble the cross that JC was hung on. So again, I don't know why you're knocking it. Is he sleeping? You're waking him up to help. I don't know what the thought problem. Knock 3 times. is sleeping really strong. I don't know the reason for it, but the one thing that I can tell you for sure, knock on wood has no source in Judaism. And you're going to tell me that I found the source. Well, and the source was not even a source. Because when I found the source, it said that in the 1500s, the Jews are being prosecuted, so they made a secret knock to get into the synagogue so that they can go and sneak inside there. So because they knocked secretly on a wooden door, this way they knock, come on. That's not, you don't knock, there's nothing to do with bad luck and that. Knocking on wood, you should definitely 100% refrain for. Right? That started off as idol worship, went to Christianity. And not only does it not help you, it's going to make it worse. So stay far away from knocking on wood. Spilling salt. So this is something very interesting. So I spoke about salt, and somebody once showed me. I didn't even know this. Somebody wrote a book, a sefer for Kafkazi minhagim. It's customs of the Kafkazim from there, and he showed me. Well,
It's in Hebrew, right?
it's in Hebrew, and he showed me, and he gave me this book, so I had to look through it, and I found the source. First, I didn't understand. I didn't find anywhere where if you spill salt, it's bad, or right, it's bad, right? If spill salt, it's bad. So I didn't find anywhere, and so I looked it up over there, and he does bring it down. He didn't bring down. I couldn't find where his source was from, but he says a person that shouldn't spill salt because it could bring fight in the house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so arguments. Let me tell you where it originated. Where the salt went, which I found from. So there was a guy by the name of Da Vinci, and he made a painting of the 13, I don't know what they call it, gospel students, disciples, whatever they are, right? And one of them, in the picture, there was one of JC's disciples that went against him. I think his name was Judah. He went against JC, and you could see because on his arm he spilled. There was salt that spilled. So in the picture that you see his salt, there was the guy who went against JC spilled the salt. So from there became so now someone who spills salt is bad luck because just like that guy went against JC, so they spilled it. So then they do another thing. You take salt and you throw it over from your right hand, you throw it over the left side.
Yeah.
Right? This is 100% Christian. So why Christian? What happened? They believe that the right side is the good side, is where the angel is. The left side is the little poof. There's like two people standing on your shoulder. There's like a good guy wearing like a halo, and then there's an angel with a devil, and it says, push the lady, it says, no, give her some money, and you push the lady, he gives you a high five, that, what I'm talking about, right? So the bad one's on the left side, the devil's on the left side, the angel's on the good side. So they take the salt, and they throw it over the left side, so sort of to knock off the devil, right? That's where it comes from. You take it, I don't know if it's 3 times or whatever it is,
I
right?
tell you guys that in Israel, I was watching the archaeology, and they found the scalps of men's scalps with the horns.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they found a horn in the middle, but they don't talk much about it. But they found a lot of scalps.
The horns?
That
Originally what it
in
came
Israel,
from.
and there's some other places, some other islands.
You know how, I never heard of that, I will
And
look it up.
they thought that this horn's operation, but the more study they made, they see that they've been naturally grown out of the skull.
You know where the Jewish, because have you ever been there? Somebody once went over to me when I was like, not in America. I guess people see a lot of Jews, and I was wearing the kippah, and they were like looking at me, and they said, can we see your horns? Can you take it off to look at your horns?
What?
So yeah, they actually asked me, it's like, so do you guys have like little horns over there? Because they think we put this on over there. Right. So I said, yeah, but if I show you, I have to gore you. Really? No, yeah, you ready? Hold still. And I'm like, ta-da. So where do the horns is nothing. Where does horns come from originally? In the old pictures, when Moses, it says that when he came back from heaven, he had light shining from him. So the old pictures, they used to put 2 rays of light shining straight up. So people got to look at that and they have horns. It looked like horns. It looked like just rays of light. And that's where the origination of it came from. I've never heard that they actually found people with horns. Were they Jewish? Did they have a bris milah?
I'm not sure about
Can't
the
tell.
Jews or not, but that's what. And not only in Jerusalem, they find not in Israel. I'm not sure which city, but there's some places in the world they find
Horns, really? I want to look it up. I want to see if
Look it up.
Yeah.
Google it.
So additionally, there's something very interesting. So it's bad luck for certain people to spill salt. Then I found Sicilians, if they have evil eye, they spill salt in their entranceway. And they spill salt over there, so that's good luck for them. So now here we have another, stira. Contradiction. One community says it's bad luck. One community says it's good luck. Sicilians, they do something very interesting. For evil eye, they spill salt in the entranceway to protect them from evil eye. Additionally, they'll take, and everybody in the house, if they feel there's an evil eye, everybody takes a bucket, and they have to urinate in it. And after they urinate in it, they pour the urine outside the house, like a libation, protection from the evil eye. Right? Go figure. So opening umbrella indoors. So where did this source come from, right? In ancient Egypt, there used to be they used to wear umbrellas. They used to go in umbrellas to protect from the sun. Now it would be very disrespectful to the sun, to the god of the sun, to put an umbrella where there's shade, because then you're not protected. What are you protecting? It's only for me, powerful sun. So he used to say, like, okay, you're not allowed to go and sit in the shade. You're not allowed to go and put an umbrella in the shade because it's going to make the god of the sun feel bad, and not the god sun, the son of the god, whatever it is, the idol. So that's where the source was. Okay, so now you don't open an umbrella indoors. I even heard that if you open an umbrella indoors, it's going to rain on the day of your wedding. I don't know. People are taking things from my hat. So
I heard the other one. If you eat from the bottom of the pot that you cooked in, there is going to be a rain on your wedding.
Oh really?
No, it's not disgusting.
And I'm telling you, the people, if people would be so careful on the Jewish law, like they are superstitious law,
Yeah.
we'd be in good shape.
Oh.
If only. Okay, next. Walking under a ladder. You ever heard of this? You're not allowed to walk under a ladder. Right? Why not allowed to walk under a ladder? So they said, first of all, they used to say that the medieval times they used to hang people a lot. Right? They got into the mood of hanging people. Witches, people they don't like, tax fraud. Everybody just got hung. So they used to think that, okay, so you put them on the ladder and then you push off the ladder. Now what happens is body falls, it hangs down, and the soul keeps on falling down to the ground. So you're not allowed to walk under the ladder because the soul is hanging over there. That's why it said, because the ladder was under the gallows, and under the gallows is where the soul is hanging, right? Again, completely BS. The soul doesn't hang around over there. Then there's Christianity said something else. Christianity says there's a triangle. Triangle resembles the Trinity. And if you're walking under the Trinity, then it's already, disrespectful for God. Right? Again, go figure, there's so many triangles, but you're not going to, I guess maybe this is where what is that called? With the eye? Illuminati, Illuminati, I don't know. So they all come with all this. So again, walking under the ladder, I'll give you a good reason not to walk under the ladder. Something could fall and hurt you. That's as far as it's good, you should do it, right?
Practical law.
Practical law, right? Is the last one that I saw was a horseshoe. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
You put a horseshoe for good luck, right?
Good luck.
So where did this horseshoe came in? Its origination is also Christianity. There was a blacksmith by the name of Dunstan. Dunstan, a devil came over to him, opened his store one day. He's a blacksmith. He says, "Listen, I need to fix my horseshoe." I think they picture the devil with feet of a horse, right? Even though demons have that, the devil is supposed to be an angel, so I don't know exactly what their calculations were. But they said that the horseshoe, so he needed a horseshoe. I guess his shoes were from hell, maybe made it too hot and melted. He needed a new horseshoe. He came over to Dunstan's shop and he says, "Hey man, can you give me a new horseshoe?" And this genius, Dunstan, says, "I see you're the devil." It's like, okay, and he put in a horseshoe with a nail and very tough. And the devil was in a lot of pain. So this guy Dunstan said, "Listen, I'll take out the horseshoe and I'll relieve your pain, but in condition that whenever you see this horseshoe, you won't bother it. You'll keep it. You'll keep it. Whenever you see a horseshoe pasted on the thing, you'll take you'll be nice to them. No bad luck." So the devil apparently agreed to this guy, and that's why you see people when they walk in their home, they have horseshoes, right? Again, if you see somebody that's Jewish, rip it off. Throw it on the floor. It's all Christianity. Don't do that. But I'm saying, tell them nicely. But it's all Christianity. It's all based on nonsense. It's all based on not only is it all based on nonsense, most of people don't even know what they're doing these things from. People are just doing it. They don't know the source. I always find that,
But they hear it,
Right,
or it's in their DNA already built up, some people.
You know how you can tell when somebody's doing something. If you tell somebody to keep religion, right? So they say, okay, why do I got to do this? They always ask a reason why. But for an evil eye or all these superstitious things, no one ever asks. Whatever you say, yeah, bad luck. Nobody understands that if somebody doesn't keep Shabbat, you know how much bad luck that brings to you? You know how much bad that you can't. Karet is, even if you do tshuva, you have to go through suffering for that. For what? Because you got to text, you got to drive, you got to smoke a cigarette. This most stupidest things people ruin their lives for. Meanwhile, they're worried about the fake things. They forget about the real stuff, they're worried about the fake stuff. You have a question? No. Anybody have any questions on the evil eye?
But they're saying that if you keep the one Shabbat, it's gonna bless you for.
Shabbat is kihi mikol halacha. It's a source of blessing. Nobody understands. People think that Shabbat, it's like, okay, fine, I do this and now. No, Shabbat is the source of your blessing. You want to have blessing in your life? Shabbat is the source of the blessing. It's for the whole week. The whole foundation of Judaism stands on Shabbat. There's no reason why it speaks about it so much times in the Torah. Keep the Shabbat. If you don't keep it, you're going to die. If you don't keep it, you're going to be cut off. If you don't keep it, you're going to die. If you don't keep it, you're going to cut off again and again and again. There's a reason for it. It's not because they just like talking about it because there's nothing they want to fill in the space.
Okay, what the position was said about somebody's not the other religions or the other part of their life. What about the Jewish in Torah? And they said anything about the bad luck to protection? Besides what he said, 5 points, or anything like anything coming from the Torah, real Torah.
That's real superstition.
Yes. It's supposed to be because the Jewish people also like a real human, like the other humans also, they have something to protect themselves.
Right. So
and
what?
they believe something.
Right. I hear your question. So what in the Jewish law is something that you should protect yourself? So the evil eye is something real. That's number one. The evil eye is something real that you should protect yourself from. I'm trying to think what there are other customs that people do, like for example, don't throw bread. Don't throw bread. Bread that makes a person poor, right? That's like it's not a superstition, but we have sources for that.
Yeah, it's just different because everybody was taught to not throw out the bread because it's just like it's a good thing to keep it, put it aside. Actually, we'll put it aside.
Yeah, if you have, even if you have to throw it out, it's good to put it in a special bag. Don't put it in regular garbage. So some people have like in my house, I have a special bag for bread, and I have a special bag for the garbage. So you give it like honor. Right, I never heard of that. That's not, people kiss also the kippah when they pick it up, but I've never seen this one.
Why we kiss the books?
Kiss the books is giving honor to the books.
Он отдельно держит сумку.
Yeah, it's
Let's think about it.
it's giving honor. You see a lot of people, they shake their hand and they'll kiss it afterwards.
Yeah.
All different we got it. Just come.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. I have to look up. There are certain things. I'm trying to think off the top of my head of what else. Like, don't waste food.
In your family, you see anybody in your family do something special to not protect themselves?
Yeah, well, when I was younger, my brother used to say, "Don't walk over somebody else who won't grow." But I don't think that's a.
Don't walk up
yeah.
somebody
But I don't
gets-
think that's a real. I don't think if somebody's laying down, you're not supposed to walk over them because then they're not going to grow. I don't think that's. I don't think it's real. Everybody, you know what it is? With superstition, it comes from the culture. Like, so it comes from wherever you're from Poland, so you have Polish superstition. You're from China, you have Chinese superstition. You have Russian, you have Russian superstition. So all those things. The source of Judaism is not based on, the superstition is not a thing to do. It's not there's a law, you have to be pure to God. Don't worry about all these nonsense. Don't worry about you be pure to God, you be good to God, you're good. People don't worry about all this stuff. Somebody that learns Torah, keeps Shabbat, keeps kosher, keeps all the mitzvot, is a good Jew. He doesn't have to worry about any of this stuff. Nothing from A to Z. That's the evil eye. Yeah. So we said a source for evil eye. But again, if you're a good Jew, you don't put on evil eye on anybody else.
What about number 13?
No, I had no idea. Number 13 is good in the Jewish league. Bar mitzvah. Yeah, I don't know. They say that in the non-Jewish thing, I think it's because of Friday the 13th or something like that. They skip 13th floors also in hotels. It's from 12 to 14.
Right, they skip the...
Yeah, which is the 13th floor. They just don't call it 13. They call it 14.
A couple of questions not related to this.
Yeah.
Why, when we go determine if a Jewish or not, we go by mom?
Oh, okay, very
but
good.
when we say for Isaac ben Isaac, why we go by father's name for the prayer, but we go by mother's name for everything else, for the determinant as a Jew or not?
Okay, so the two questions. Number one is, so first let's explain why is it that you're determined by your mother as opposed to your father. The most probably popular reason is because a person cannot be 100% sure who's his father. But a person can know 100% sure who is his mother.
Right, that we know, but then why we say Isaac ben Yaakov, not Isaac ben...
So for the Torah you do that, why specifically that? Because the Shvatim, the way that you tell which tribe you're from is from your father, not from your mother.
Really?
Yeah, so if you're a Levi, a Kohen, or Israel, it depends on your father. Not on your mother, it depends if you're Jewish or not. Which is interesting, because in Islam law, your father is if you're Jewish, your mother doesn't matter. And so, I read a story today that there was a guy who was his grandmother was Jewish, and she married an Islamic guy. She converted to Islam. Again, a Jew cannot convert to Islam to anything else. Once a Jew, always a Jew. You die a Jew, right? There are many people who think I'm not religious, so I can drive at Shabbat. No, I mean, you're a Jew. You're going to be just like that other guy is going to get punished.
Once they convert to Jew, that's not like you.
No, once you convert to Judaism, you can't. There's no backseas, basically. You're stuck over here. You're a Jew. That's why they make it. You don't. When in the conversion process, it's not very. You know, how you go to Christianity. You want to be a priest. They'll sprinkle some water on you. Maybe you drink some wine and crackers. You know, you have a little soda over there, and that's it. You baptize, and you're Christian, right? In the Jewish, they accept everybody very quick. In Jewish conversion, they don't just accept. It takes time. It's like, okay, you want to convert? Start learning the law. Start living in this. First, we push them away. We don't. Why do you want to convert? There's so many laws, so many things that you got to do. We don't just say, okay, come, right? So Islam is just going to say, yeah, no problem. They'll join. If not, I'll kill you if you don't join, right? So. How do you convert? What's the conversion process?
Yeah,
Conversion process is you have to go to a Beit Din. You have to go to a Jewish court, and they go through a whole thing. They test you. You have to first know all the laws.
There's a Jewish court in New York?
Beit Din. I mean, they don't sit with robes and gravels and things like that. They sit with tea and robes. And
The
that's a
second
practice.
question I had, it sits on Shabbat.
It's not carrying. What are you saying?
Huh?
What are you saying? Is it carrying? What's your question?
Здесь или там?
If you put it sits, if you know where it sits, what do you do on Shabbat?
Там
You
contrast
drive.
line.
If you drive, you just drive.
What does one thing have to do with another?
So it's okay. You're not being a hypocrite. You're not.
No, you should do whatever you do as this is where the Satan gets you. If somebody just wakes up from, let's use a more severe example. Somebody just wakes up from a very bad, he did a very bad sin the night before, use imagination, really, really bad. So he says, well, am I going to go pray now to God? Am I going to start, eating all this kosher? I'm going to start doing all these things? Come on, I'm spitting in God's face. This is where you get punished for your bad deeds and you get rewarded for your good deeds. They don't cross each other out. Just because someone's doing something bad doesn't mean he shouldn't be doing anything good. That being said, if somebody's doing a sin, doesn't mean he should take off his tzitzit. It doesn't mean that he's. Besides the fact that if you want to say, okay, there is a problem of, it's called chilul Hashem.
Wine or whiskey?
I'll take a little bit of whiskey, but just like a half, just because I'm driving. So.
Special for you. You're the one who missed this. We'll drink this.
Or vodka. I'll take everything. It doesn't matter. So the point is that.